Welcome to this tutorial video. My name is William Juma. In this video, I want to take you through the step-by-step process of how to upload and download files from Google Drive using Laravel. And in this case, I'm not going to use any package. I'm going to use Laravel Http Client and then be able to connect to our Google Drive. And then in this process afterwards, go ahead and upload our files and also download. By default, Google offers 15 GB of storage for free for every new email account. And of course, you can be able to increase the limit by purchasing or paying for the extra storage. But of course, 15 GB is not a small storage space, and I think it can be useful even to store the files, the documents that you might want to store in your application, and so on and so forth. So let us go ahead and see how we can be able to implement this. In this episode of this series, because I want it to be sort of like 3 video series or something about that. But in this specific episode, I just want us to talk about how to get the client ID, the client secret, and then we will also get the refresh token. And then we can be able to do a small setup by adding the values to the env and then adding them to the configuration files. And then after that, now we can be able to access them and be able to use those values to be able to upload and download our files. So let us jump right into it and see how we can be able to do that. I have logged into an email account. So you require a Google email account or a Google account for you to be able to use Google Drive. So as long as you have an email, then you can be able to use it. So let us go ahead and see how we can be able to get to the console. So in this case, I wanted to just type console.cloud.google.com, and where it will bring us is this place. Now on this page, you can see we have several things. We have APIs and services, I am and admin, and so on and so forth. But what I want us to select is API and services. So this is what I'm going to click to. And if it is the first time for you to be able to create an API with Google, you will find that as it loads, you will have somewhere here where you need to accept the terms and conditions. But I've been able to create several applications, so I need to create a new one because we have this as project 41670, but I want to create a new project. You can see I have several. I want to create a new one. So here I'm going to just call this Google Drive tutorial. Let me just call it that. And of course, you need to use your own credentials. So these ones are mine. And by the end of this episode, by the time this videos will be up, I would have deleted even the email account. So you cannot be able to use my credentials. So I'm not going to hide anything, even the tokens and everything. I will not hide. I will just have them the way they are, but I will delete the email afterwards. So now I want us to, we have created a new project. I want us to select it, and you can see the first one here. So I want to select our project. And now, as you can see, it's the one that is listed here. So it is the one that is currently selected. And what I want us to do next is to enable APIs and services. So I'm going to click on this. Then what I want us to enable is Google Drive. So I will scroll downwards. You can see we have map, SDKs, and all that. The Google services. But in this case, whatever it is that we are interested in is Google Drive API. I will select it, and then I will enable it. After that, our Drive is enabled among the API services. So of course, you can be able to enable more than one, but in this case, our video tutorial is only about the Google Drive API, and that is the only thing that we will be in a position to sort of like ring fence ourselves to that one only. I want us to click on Create Credentials, and then we can be able to do some selections here. So what we are having here is that we are using the Google Drive API. So that is the one that is selected here. And then after that, we have 2 options that we are going to select among them. So either user data, so data belonging to a Google user, like their email address, age, and all that. and then application data belonging to your own application. And I think we are going to select the second option because we are not going to interact with any users Google details anywhere. So we are just working with our own application. So after I select that, I'm going to click next. It will bring us to where we want to have the service ID, even though we will not be using this service ID anyway, but let's just go ahead and create because it is just within the process. So I'm going to give the name of my app. So in this case, let me just call it my awesome app. I think that is not a bad name, whatever it is that you want to call it. Then as you can see, we have done, but still here we have create and continue. So I click on create and continue. And after that, our account is created. It is asking us about the roles. I do not want to do anything about that. And then we can click on done. So now we have been able to create credentials for our application. The next thing that I want us to do is to now have the auth consent screen. So that is where I'm going to click. And then we are going to select, because we have the two user types. One of them is internal, the other one is external. For the internal one, you must be a user of Google Workspace. And because we are just using a simple Google email, we will not be able to choose internal. So we will definitely be forced to choose external and click create. After that, again, we are going to be asked for the app name. So again, I'm just going to have my awesome app, and then the user support email, the email address that I'm working with, and I need to copy this to just use it when we will be asked about the admin email. So in this case, that is what we will do. We are required to have the logo of our application. If you have a logo, you can upload it there, but really it serves no purpose because we will only be able to authenticate once or maybe severally in intervals of maybe years or something of that sort. Because once we are able to have the credentials, we can be able to connect to our application for a long time. So after that, the developer contact information, I will paste in the email that we did copy. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to click save and continue. After that, we are being asked for the scopes. I do not need to do anything about that. Then save and continue, and then we are done. Lastly, I want us to look at credentials. So I will click on credentials and click create credentials. And I want us to create an auth client ID. The application type is a web application, and we will have it as web client 1. After that, I would need to add an authorized redirect URI. And this one is, we will use developer. Let me just see if I can be able to get it. Yes, developer.auth playground. So I'm just going to copy this. So developers.google.com/auth playground as our redirect URI. And then I'm going to create our application. And of course, as you can see, we have the client ID and we have the client secret. I want us to click OK. The next thing that I need to do is enabling our app. In other words, I want us to move it from being a test application to a production application. That is what I intend to do. Then once we have been able to do that, then we will be okay. So let me just try and see where we have that. I think we can check on credentials. I want us to change our application status from testing to production, because if we do not do that, we will not be able to continue with it in a way that is okay. So I want to go to click on auth consent screen again. And what I want to do here is to publish our app. So in this case, it will move it from testing to production, and that will enable us to be able to use any Google account for testing status. So now we have it in production, and I want us to go to the next step, whereby we will now be creating our refresh token. Already we have the client ID and we have the client secret. So what I want us to have is the refresh token. And that is what we are working on. And so we are going to visit developers.google.com/auth playground. And this is where we are going to set to get our refresh token. So I want us to go to credentials and be able to check our client ID and client secret. And as you can see, I'm not hiding any part of it, because at the end of everything, it will not be useful for you, because I will delete the application anyway. So use your own credentials. So I will click on this gear icon on the left here, the setting icon. And of course, we have the configurations for our auth 2.0. And what I want us to do is down here, we have a checkbox that says use your own credentials. That is what I'm going to click on. And I'm going to paste in our client ID, which I have copied from this place here. And I also want to copy the client secret, and I will still paste it here. So we have been able to input our client ID and client secret. I'm going to close. So after that, then we are going to look for our APIs and authorize them. So in this case, what we want to authorize are just the APIs that involve Google Drive. So I'm going to search and go through whatever it is that we have here. And since they are arranged alphabetically, I think I'm going to find Google Drive where we have the values, the alphabetical values D. So I am almost there. Yes, we have Drive API version 3. And I will click to just show the scopes. And for each of the scopes that we have, I'm going to check it. So all of them that are under Google Drive, I want all of them checked. And in this case, whatever it is that we need as at now, and then whatever it is that you will need even in future when you are working with Google Drive, they will all be available to you. Then the next thing that you are going to do, there is a button here that says authorize APIs. I'm going to click on it. And then it will bring us to a prompt where we are supposed to choose an account to work with our application. And in this case, I will choose the same account that I have registered in Google Drive. So the same email address. Now it says Google hasn't verified the app. So it's some sort of warning and so on and so forth. But I'm going to click on advanced and then say, go to my app, even though it is unsafe. So I will click here. And then now we will reach here where we have to authorize the scopes. So in this case, we want to allow this application access to our drive, the actions that it can be able to run in our application. And once we have selected all of them, I want us to click continue. After that, what we have here is the authorization code. But I do not need to have the authorization code. I need us to have the refresh token. So what I'm going to do, I will click exchange authorization code for tokens. So once I click here, then it's going to give us a refresh token and an access token. Of course, the access token is one time. Then the refresh token will be very useful for refreshing our tokens once our tokens expire. But just to explain, the refresh token, because as you can see, the access token lasts 35.99 seconds, so 3,600 seconds. I think it's some 60 minutes or so. So these tokens will last for 1 hour. And then after that, you're supposed to get another new token. So you're not supposed to get the token every single time. But in this case, that is what I'm going to do. But for you to be able to work well with this application, you can be able to take the access token and maybe probably save it and then always keep on using it until it expires. Then you can be able to use the refresh token to get another access token. That is how we can be able to do this. But let me just go ahead and do a little bit more of a setup now on the Laravel end. I would like us to go to our .env file. So I'm going to click here and open the .env file. And inside here we have the configuration, or in other words, the values that our application is using. And I want us below at the end to create to have also the values now for our Google Drive client ID, the secret, and then the refresh token, and also we can be able to add the folder ID. So what I want us to have here is Google underscore drive underscore client underscore ID. So that will be the client ID. I want to just copy it where we have it. So we have it here. I'm going to click copy. We are going to paste it here, our client ID. I'd just like to copy this line downwards and then be able to change this from client ID to client secret. And then of course, delete everything here. Then copy the client secret. And then I also copy this downwards and then have the refresh token. So I delete and have Google Drive underscore refresh underscore token. And the refresh token is here where we were initially. As you can see, we have the access token and below it we have the refresh token. So I will just copy this, whatever it is that we have here in entirety. Of course, excluding the quotation marks. And then I will paste for this last value. So that is our refresh token. And you can see I'm not hiding any values just to make this tutorial okay. And then after that, I want us to go ahead and call these values inside our configuration. We can be able to create a config file. So inside config, we have various files here. We have so many of them. I can be able to create another one and call it Google. But in this case, let me just use the services config. And what we are going to do here, we have other services that have the keys. So we have the mailgun keys, we have the postmark, we have SES, and so on and so forth. What I want us to do is to add Google. I want to use small letters. And then we are going to, inside here, have the values. So of course, the first thing that I need us to have is we will have the first value as a client ID. And the reason why we are doing this and not calling the env directly is sometimes you may find now your application is in production and you are using caching. If you use the env files directly, you will have a problem because they will not be called, especially once you do some changes. So in this case, we have client ID, and I want us to pick the value as we put it in our env file. So Google underscore drive underscore client underscore ID, like that. We will have a comma, and I just want to copy this downwards and change this to client secret. And then of course we will change this to client secret. I want to copy it one more time, and what I want us to have here is refresh token, refresh underscore token, and this one will be Google Drive refresh token, that way. And I think I want us to do one more thing, is to have the folder ID. Sometimes you may want to upload specific files to specific folders. So in this case, you need to have the folder ID for that folder with which you want to do the upload to. And by doing this, you can be able to have several folder IDs for several folders. So for example, if you are uploading an image to maybe profile images, a folder called that, you can upload the images there, and then something else in a different folder, maybe a folder invoices, where you upload your invoices. So you need to have all those folder IDs. But in the case of whatever it is that I'm working on, we are just going to create one folder. We are just going to use one folder. So in this case, I'm just going to have just a single folder ID. In the case where you're having many folder IDs, probably you might not place them in the env. probably you can be able to put them in a database where you will have all your folders with their names, such that you'll just be picking a folder and then uploading a file to it, such that you have the name of the folder and then you have the folder ID, and then you can be able to work with it like that. But in this case, since I'm uploading everything to one single folder, I'm not very much concerned about that, because even whatever it is that I'm working on is just some sort of example. So here I'm going to have Google Drive folder underscore ID. And remember, we have not been able to set the folder ID. I'm going to save what we have here and go back to our env and be able to set the Google Drive folder ID. So I click on env and I want us to just have Google Drive folder ID underscore drive folder underscore ID. And this, I would like to just show you how to get the folder ID. Once you have logged into your Gmail account, you can be able to go to Gmail, and then I just want to access the drive from here. So I will click on the place where we have 9 dots above here. We can be able to go to the drive. After that, we can see if our drive has folders. So let me go to my drive and see if it has folders. Yes, there is a folder called My Uploads for me. If you do not have a folder, you can create it by clicking on New and then New Folder. And then you can be able to have the name. So we can say avatars, something of that sort. So now if you want to get the folder ID of this folder, you can double click to open the folder and just check on the URL on the address bar. You have the last part because you have HTTP Google Drive, then folders, and then you have some alphanumeric characters here, and that is actually the folder ID of the specific folder we are talking about. So I'm going to paste this here and save. I want this to be the end of this video, because in the next video I want us to talk about how to upload, and we will do a little bit of more setup then, whereby we will get the token, and then we will be able to go ahead and do the upload. And then the next video will be for download. And I think by the end of everything, I would have given you some perspective onto whatever it is that you can be able to do regarding uploading and downloading files using Google Drive. Thank you very much for following this tutorial video up until this point. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment if you have a question. You can also share this video. Thank you.